Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious? Guys, welcome. I'm going to be going live today at noon with a full show. Okay. I'll be going live today at noon with a full show. But I wanted to jump in here just for a couple minutes and tell you about the federal government's doomsday prophet and what it is he is prophesying. Unbelievable. That's what they're calling him, the doomsday prophet. And what the Fed's doomsday prophet is saying is that it has a dire warning of what he is prophesying. What he is saying is a dire warning about where we're headed as a nation. Let me share that with you in just a second. But first, let me put a quick shout out for www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. If you're trying to stick to your fitness New Year's resolution, you may want to introduce some keto power by BioTrust to speed up your results. A good keto supplement will keep your body in a fat burning state of ketosis. What? Ketosis. What? For as long as possible. Are you serious? My personal favorite is ketowithpaul.com. This ultra-rich powder helps deliver clean energy. We don't even want to go there. Mental focus and weight management throughout your body. This product uses powerhouse ingredients from the keto diet to support the elevated ketone levels and all the confidence-boosting benefits that come with it. And you can get 51% off if you go right now to www.ketowithpaul.com. That's www.ketowithpaul.com. You'll be glad you did that one. I'll tell you that. All right. So first of all, who is the doomsday prophet? And why does what he says matter if he's with the Federal Reserve? Well, here's why. Let me give you some information about him. First of all, his name is Thomas Hoenig. Thomas Hoenig. And he knew Thomas Hoenig. His last name is spelled Hoeing. He's the Fed's doomsday prophet with this dire warning about where we're headed. He knew what quantitative easing and record low interest rates would bring to the national and world economy. Thomas Hoenig doesn't look like a rebel. He is a very conservative man, soft-spoken, and happily retired at the age of 75. He acts like someone who has spent the vast majority of his career, as he has, working at one of the stuffiest, most powerful institutions in America, the Federal Reserve Bank. Hoenig has all the fiery dispensation that one might expect from a central banker, which is to say, none at all. He is unspooled sentences methodically in a measured way, never letting his words race ahead of his intended message. When Hoenig gets really agitated, he repeats the phrase and says, "Look it," a lot, but that's about as salty as it gets. He's not fiery like a preacher, but his prophecies are dire for America. This makes it all the more surprising that Tom Hoenig is, in fact, one of America's least most understood dissents. In 2010, Hoenig was president of the Federal Reserve Regional Bank in Kansas City, Missouri. And as part of his job, Hoenig had a seat on the Fed's most powerful policy committee. And that's where he lodged one of the longest running string of no votes in the bank's history. Hoenig's dissents are striking because the Fed's top policy committee, called the Federal Open Market Committee, and doesn't just prize consensus, it nearly demands it. The committee likes to present a unified front to the public because it is arguably the most powerful governing body in America of economic affairs. Hoenig disagreed with quantum easing, the printing of money, and the lowering of interest rates to zero. He said this was a recipe for a coming apocalyptic financial disaster. But that's exactly what the Federal Reserve did. under the Obama administration, folks, from 2008 through 2014, which was all the first almost 7, it was actually 7 years of the Obama administration. That's exactly what they did. During those 7 years under President Obama, it's roughly, they tripled the amount of money that the Federal Reserve created at the printing presses. They tripled the amount of money than the Federal Reserve made in the first 95 years of its existence. So in 7 years, we tripled the amount of money in our current GDP accessible to the public. We tripled it. We tripled it more than the whole 95 years prior to that. What do you think that's going to do to inflation? What do you think that's going to do to disrupting the balance of economic the stability? It sets it up for big wins and big falls. Okay, it's way out of balance. It was called quantum easing. You just keep pumping money at something to keep it from showing its ugly reality. And according to the Doomsday prophet, he prophesied, if you will, he predicted, he said that this will end in a disaster, an apocalypse of the economy. 3 centuries worth of growth in the money supply was crammed into a few short years. The money poured through the veins of the financial system and stoked the demand for assets like stocks, corporate debt, commercial real estate bonds, driving up prices across all the markets. Hoenig was the one Fed leader who voted consistently against this course of action, starting in 2010. In doing so, he was pitted himself against the rest of the federal powerful chair. So, including Ben Bernanke, who was the Fed chair at that time, he was widely regarded as a hero. Bernanke was, because he was ambitious, coming to a rescue with a plan, while Hoenig was saying this is a recipe for disaster. Hoenig then was asked or forced to retire in late 2011, of which he decided he would. And he said, I feel like I'm an old, cranky Old Testament prophet, an Old Testament prophet who has warned incessantly and about one thing, the threat of the coming hyperinflation, which will make the value of everything fall. Hyperinflation is exactly what's hit Turkey, and it's what's starting to hit other nations, because this way, look, you can't print your way out of trouble. Okay, you just cannot do that. You cannot print your way out of trouble, and that's exactly what's happened. The Fed chair is in trouble. Matter of fact, during that, between 2008 and 2014, the Federal Reserve printed more than $3.5 trillion in new bills. Now, let me tell you why Joe Manchin was against the Build Back Better bill of Joe Biden of $3.5 trillion, because he knew there was no $3.5 trillion to throw out there into the wind to support that bill. So instead, what he did is Joe Biden said no, 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 no. And so did all the Republicans, because they knew it was a disaster. It would just water down the currency that we currently have. And so they even fought and brought it all the way down to 1.2 trillion, saying, Joe, how about that? He said, no, we don't even have that. Although the Democrats kept saying it won't cost the American people one dime. It's already paid for. It's already paid for. What do you mean? It's paid for. Don't worry about it. We're just going to print it and throw it out there. Don't worry about it. It's all paid for. with new taxes. So what they were going to do, folks, was print worthless money, throw it into the system, and then tax every one of us to help pay. They were going to take from us as the system was being watered down. This is I'm going to tell you what it's bringing. The Doomsday Prophet, really what he's saying is we're headed toward the Great Reset. We're headed toward the new global economy, the new world order way of managing the world's economy. We are headed there, folks. We got 7 years of Obama's printing tribulation, and since then we've had 7 years of realization. And I think we're now headed for the 7 years of financial tribulation. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time. I'm getting ready to go on the largest Catholic podcast in the world. I've got to be on there in about 5 minutes. And so I'll be back then after I do that broadcast. I'll be back to do my own broadcast with you all at 12 noon. Okay. So stay fired up, stay focused, stay ready. And I'll be back with all of you in just about an hour from now. God bless. Are you serious?
I saw a black man with the Bible and a sparkler in his hand. He was holding a tent revival and running a fireworks stand. He said the end of the world is coming, so you better get on your knees. Today bottle rockets 2 for 1, but salvation's free. He said I quit my job at a big church where the milk and money flow to sell cherry bombs for Jesus in a tent beside the road. I ain't in it for the money, no cars they pass on by, but I paid rent on New Year's and 4th of July. Here at the Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire brimstone, Mission Temple fireworks stand. He said fireworks are dangerous, they can blow up in your face. Better read the instructions, light the fuse and get away. These things are made in China, so it's easy to see. How man who worships Buddha ain't got no guarantee. This is the Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire brimstone, Mission Temple fireworks stand. Here we go. He said everything I'm selling, it's all going up in smoke. This world is like an atomic bomb, it's ready to explode. When the trumpet sounds and the Lord comes back, I promise you one thing. I'll be a human bottle rocket, and I'll go out with a bang. I'll leave this Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire brimstone, it's Mission Temple fireworks stand. I'll leave this Holy Ghost, Big Bang Theory, Pentecostal, fire brimstone, it's Mission Temple fireworks stand. Mission Temple fireworks stand. It's Mission Temple fireworks stand. Are you serious? I'll be back at 12 noon.